Hello, agents. Do you know what day it is? That's right. It's a great day to sell insurance. This is the industry's #1 podcast that teaches you the business, the science, and the sales of the insurance industry in less than 30 minutes. And just so you know, we upload new episodes every Tuesday by 12 p.m. Eastern. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm your host, Melissa D. Hall, insurance industry icon. You ready? Executive board, tell me, did you enjoy our premiere episode? If you haven't watched it yet, go ahead and make sure you do. It was all about, is selling Medicare still worth it or not? Okay, and I broke it down. I told you how we got here, the different causes, and what to do next. How to still monetize that book of business that you worked so very hard to acquire. It was really, really good. And I taught you all about it in less than 30 minutes. Okay, so make sure you do that. So today's episode is how to start your own virtual agency. You all, this is going to be a good one today. I'm going to teach you exactly what is a virtual insurance agency, the pros and cons, right, of it. Will you make more money or not going virtual, right, versus going face to face or door to door, right? Because it does kind of come down to that, right? How to set up your own virtual insurance agency. So, and I'm going to name names, okay? I'm going to give actual names of tools for you to use. And listen, if you don't make it through all this episode, which I hope you do, please feel free to go ahead to melissadhall.com/resources. And if you go there, I'm going to actually have a partners list that you can download. All right, that's going to name all my partners. If you want to go virtual and who I use, okay, to make that happen. So make sure you go ahead there. And I'll also make sure I put the link to it in the description. All right, you all ready for today, executive board? All right, and listen, let's talk about executive board because that's what you are. I don't like to just say my viewers, my subscribers. No, I could like to call you all the executive board because we make decisions together. This information that we're talking about, what's happening in the industry, all that, this is a two-way conversation. So hashtag executive board, the executive board. If you're with me, I do look up this hashtag on social media, but go ahead and put it in the comments. Let me know that you're part of the executive board. You know, when you all talk to me, hashtag the executive board. And listen, on top of that, okay, you all can join the executive board newsletter. Okay, go ahead and join that. So when I post episodes, have classes, information, all the things, I send it out to the executive board list. Like you all get a lot of exclusives on there. If you know, you know. Okay, so go ahead, melissadhall.com/resources. And it says join the executive board newsletter. That's what you want to do. All righty. So you all, let us, okay, get into today's episode. All righty. On doing a virtual insurance agency. And the reason why I decided to do this on how to start a virtual insurance agency is because I posted a reel online, and you could check it out, just about a day in my life as a virtual insurance agency owner. And somebody asked me, how do you start one? And I'm like, well, that's a good question. Let me get into it. And so that's how we got here. So first things first, let's talk about what is a virtual insurance agency. When I say virtual insurance agency, that means selling over the phone or using Zoom. Anything where you're not face-to-face with a client, to me, is considered virtual, okay? You can do that working from home. You can do that, if you have your own office space, whatever. But anytime you're not face-to-face, that is what I consider virtual, okay? Just so we're all on the same playing field, okay? So let's talk about what I did before I went virtual. So I started out in final expense in this industry, okay, selling life insurance policies face to face. That's all I did. I could never have a nice car because I will always have to drive around. I mean, honestly, I know I might have an insurance license, but I think I need my mechanic's license because I know all about how to fix a car, right? So I hated it. I really did. I hated all the driving. I hated all the driving. Like even now, I hate car trips. If it's over 2 hours, like forget about it. Fly me there, fly me there. Okay. So that is what I did before. And also with Medicare, I started off face to face as well. Okay. So let's talk about why I started selling virtually. Well, it all started during COVID when they said that we could no longer go into people's homes, right? So I had to make some decisions and it wasn't easy. And I'll tell you this funny story. If you've been watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, you've heard it before where the day they told us that we had to no longer go in people's homes, me and an agent who just started my agency, I told her, I was like, hey, we're not going to worry about it. We're going to still go. So somebody had a dog. And long story short, I ended up getting fleas from the dog, she and I. And it was her first day. Poor her, right? And when that happened, it was it for me. I was like, you know what? I never want fleas again. It was terrible. Like we literally started scratching in their house. Right. I was like, I try to like hold it together. And then like I had to end up leaving the appointment. And then when we got to the car, like I saw these little ticks or fleas on me. We went straight to the CVS. We had to like change our clothes in a bathroom. And if you go to CVS, sometimes they might have little clothes like sundresses. We had to buy like these $49 sundresses and put our clothes in trash bags. We had to buy trash bags. It was a mess. Okay. It was a hot mess. And ever since that, y'all, I was like, I'm not going back, point thinking. And it really, that whole thing, having to sell virtually, having to, go inside, sell over the phone, it transformed my life. It really, really, really did. So that's how I started selling virtually. So what type of agent is best for when it comes to virtual sales? Definitely an agent who has experience. I will definitely say that because when you're selling virtually, especially over the phone, where you can't see the person, you really don't know their body language. It really helps to have that in person, right? Also, too, people are more forgiving in person versus the phone because when you're in person, let's say, especially if you're new or you're not sure about something, you need to get some information. If a person's right in front of you, they'll be like, okay, I'll give you a few minutes, right? They can see you work. Versus if you're over the phone and you're like, oh, I got to get some information, you could go call a carrier, or just even take a quick pause, or they feel like it's going to take too long and hang up and you never see them again. Like this happens, right? Also to a persistency issue. What else? So that right there. Okay. Also to a person who has good command of technology. If you're not good with technology, again, you need to stay in the field. Because it's not so much even in carrier systems. A lot of times too, you're going to be walking the individual over the phone, over through some type of tech where it might be signing an application, okay, where you have to direct them. For a short time, I worked for like Comcast Cable and some cable companies and, all that. So I was used to teaching people how to troubleshoot and things of that sort. And that really takes a lot of patience. Okay. Also too, and I think the most important thing when it comes to being virtually is you have to have a lead source. Okay. Like that right there is the key to it. Okay. Because having that lead source, especially virtually, when you're out and about, you meet folks, right? But when you're virtually, you're at your house, who are you meeting, right? So that's the big thing too. Also, I'm going to add a person who has good command of their time, because this is all about time management. Again, when you're out in the field, I feel like, you might have like a set route per se, but when you're at home, you could get a little distracted. Okay. So great time management is key. And speaking of time management too, on our mail, okay, where you get to write into me, that's actually what it's about how to plan your day. So make sure you stay tuned for that, okay? Remember, these episodes are no more than 30 minutes. Okay, so hope y'all loving it so far. So also too, one of the questions that people ask me is if I use Zoom, right? Very rarely. I want to add that. Very rarely do I use Zoom or have these like virtual calls like Google Meets and stuff. Most people are good with me just talking to them on the phone. Okay. So let's say more based off phone sales. Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Also, another thing before I move to the next point, you want to have a quiet place. Working with agents, it's very interesting how many people do not have like a quiet place to do business in their home. Maybe they might have kids or animals or someone else at their home, or they just don't have that office set up. And that's very important. If you think going to the library and working is going to do it for you, it's not, because at the library, a lot of times they won't let you be on a phone like that. Okay, so that's another thing too. So you definitely want to have that dedicated space so you can make phone calls. So let's talk about the pros and cons of selling virtually. Some of the pros: freedom. I love it. Like, I can literally, again, working from home, going on vacation, right? Going out of town, like traveling, having that mobility. I love the freedom, okay? Versus being in an office, you're expected to be there, you got coworkers, staff, all the things. Safety. People are crazy nowadays. So definitely safer in my home. I get to talk to more people, okay? And what does that mean? More money. I did an experiment one AEP, the first week of AEP, where I had an agent who was over the phone versus myself out in the field. And again, this agent was newer to the business than me. She sold 60 policies the first week. I sold like 25 because I had to be out in the field. So it definitely does help with the income. Now, the persistency, yes, it is different. Hence why I do my events, okay? The care events that win. But, because that helps build the community, right? Because that's what they want, that community, that rapport, see you're a real person, okay? Cons, okay? Lack of relationship building, which I just alluded to. Dominating the area. This is big, especially coming out the field. Again, when you're in the field, you meet the neighbor, right? You meet the neighborhoods, you get the relationships with the senior centers, doctor's offices that you're passing by, and you really kind of like dominate an area if you do it right. And when you're over the phone, you don't necessarily do that. You can't make those relationships. And, insurance can kind of be a neighborhood game. So a neighborhood game, excuse me. So that is definitely a con. Some people, okay, insist on coming in person. All right. And they won't do business with you if they don't see you. I've definitely had that. I've also had it where, because I do everything on the phone, another agent came in and stole my sale. Right? That happens. And they feel better because they see him. It happens. It can be expensive, okay, because more money goes into advertising, but it kind of balances out with the rent you would pay. And you kind of can become more lead dependent, especially starting off. Okay, so those are some of the cons. I definitely feel like you got to have a bankroll, especially if you're new. If you're a new person out there, especially, and you're like, hey, I don't care, I just want to be virtual. Okay, well, make sure you have a big bankroll, because let's say in the field, if you need 10 leads to make 2 sales, if you're over the phone, you're going to need about 25 of them, okay, to make 2 sales, because you got to go through them. You got to go through them. And people, again, they trust you less over the phone. And if you're asking them for money, okay, you ask them for their bank account number and routing number, that's like pulling teeth. Okay, hence why I lead with the Medicare first, because usually Medicare Advantage plans won't cost the money. And then I give you your social and bank account. Okay. All right. So what do I do with people who insist on seeing me? Because there are some people, especially those new to Medicare folks who insist on seeing me. Well, with those type of people, I actually do have an office space. Okay, I have a Regis space, and I give them my address. I have a package there where I get a certain amount of days a month, and I meet them there. It's professional, it's appointment only, and it works. Okay, and I don't have to be there all the time. And also, too, it is not as expensive as keeping up a lease, right? A year's lease. So that's what I do. Next, how do I get leads? Yes, this is what everybody wants to know. Well, I get leads several different ways. First things first, again, I have been doing this for a long time. So I do get a lot of leads from referrals, and I do work my current book a lot. Also, too, I have done television, okay? Television, radio, internet-based, okay? Off of my social media, all right? Get a lot of leads from there. Also, what else do I do? Live transfers, I've done that. And referrals as well, okay? Those are some of the ways I get leads. So it's a whole gamut of it. I talk about the customer acquisition ecosystem. That definitely is in play here. All right, so let's talk about infrastructure, because infrastructure will make or break your experience. It is everything here. All right, number one, you definitely want to have a phone, right, that records your calls, and also a CRM system as well. I use Agency Block. Again, I do have a partner list. If you go to melissadhall.com/resources, everything I'm talking about is there. Okay. So that you want to have a website. Website is key. You cannot sell virtually until you have a website. Period. You can't. Okay. I use Agent Methods. That's who I use for my website. It's great. It's professional. I was able to customize it. They're very responsive. All the things. I have a code, whatever, for them, a link. So go ahead, use it. And if you sign up for any of these services through my referral relationship, just let me know. Being honest, I do get a kickback if you go through my link and join through me. And if you do join through me and you need some type of support, just let me know. Hit me up. I'm very receptive to that. Okay. So just continuing on from the website. You want that because when you're over the phone, when you're virtual, people want to verify you. Okay. And the only way they can do it in this day and time fast is through a website. Social media page, Facebook page, that's okay, but nothing screams credibility like a real professional website. Okay, so that's number one. I know some of you all might try to go and do it yourselves and all that stuff. Please don't. Go ahead and hire these guys, who do this for a living. Don't go on Fiverr and all this stuff. Please. Go to Agent Methods. Okay. Also, too, automation. Again, you won't be seeing these people, and you're going to be doing a high volume, and you need the reminder text of the appointments, because you're going to have to guard those appointments at all costs, right? Because you can't knock on their door. All right. Following up, automated follow-ups, all those things, right? You're going to need that. And that's where the CRM comes into effect. And you really do need a CRM. I met one agent. He had like over 1,000 clients on a spreadsheet and a Google Doc on his phone. It was terrible. I was mortified. And he talked about being able to pass his business on. You cannot pass that business on. Okay. Next, you need a way to ask for referrals. That's for sure. Because again, you're really going to be building off of referrals. That's the whole dream in this industry, really, is to build off of referrals. Phone recording, right? The CRM system will do that. Agent email branded. Okay. So you want to get you a Google email address. Okay. I have a link for that too on the resources page. And then you want to do at so-and-so agency. So I'm at the Hall Insurance Group, right? Whatever yours is. Nothing screams unprofessional with the at gmail.com. So that's like rule number 2, make sure you have that. I also do have a branding course on branding, independent branding for the, agent branding for the independent agent or something. You should really take that because, again, brand is going to be important. The visuals are going to be important. How you present yourself is going to be super, super important virtually because you do not have the luxury of being face to face and being able to explain yourself. What else? Make sure your phones are covered 24/7. That's another thing too. Again, the phone is life. Phone is life, right? So you want to make sure somebody is covering those phones. I do use a answering service. It is called Call Experts. Again, I have link to, so you can go ahead and reach out to them. And I mean, it's a couple $100 a month, but it's kind of like a extra assistant. It even schedules appointments for me. Okay. So like if I can't take the call, they'll schedule an appointment on my calendar for me on my website. A lot of, and that has been a godsend. That has been like me paying another person. So that's that. So listen, do y'all know what time it is? It is mail time. Woo! All right. So those of you all, again, we're new here. Mail, right? You like how I said that? It is all about, if you have a question in the industry, FMO, sales, business, the science of it all, right? Whatever your question is, I promise you, whatever question you have, somebody else wants to know, right? Current events, whatever. Go ahead and email me at info@melissad.hall.com. And guess what? I might answer your question. All righty. And I do keep it anonymous. Like I may say your first name in the state, but if you don't want me to say that, that's fine. Just write it in there and I won't say it. Okay. All righty. So today's mail. All righty. This is my favorite subject. This is my favorite segment. Excuse me. All right. This is from Jenny from Houston. Hello, Mel. I'd like to know how to structure my day. All right. Thank you, Jenny from Houston. Shout out to you. All right. So when it comes to structuring your day, okay, first things first is I want you to get a planner. And when you get a planner, I want you to get one that, number one, you can see the whole week and then it's separated by days. Not just, you see Thursday, Friday, or it's just a week. No, you want to be able to see the week spread out in front of you and segment it by days. Okay. That's number one. And you want to make sure that you have in the full week, right? That you have time to prospect, time to sell, time to follow up, time to keep it on the books, and time to learn. Okay. That's what you want to focus on. Okay. And then also too, time to work on your business. Right? Because again, you're a business owner. So outside of selling and all the things of that sort, you got to talk to accountants, legal, all the business things, right? Banking, all the things that you have to do. You want to put that all in. Okay. So you might have it now. I will say this. You want to have at least one day a week that you do admin work. And you also want to make sure you have at least 2 days a week where you're working until at least 7. And the reason why I say that is because it's some people that you can only reach in the evenings. All righty. As much as we want this to be 9 to 5, sometimes we can't catch people at 9 to 5. And the most profitable agents that I see and what I do for myself, they work a little bit later and you can come in later those days, right? But which is fine, right? But just be prepared. Just have 2 days that you're going to work a little bit later. What else? Also, too, when you're structuring your day, I want you to make sure you have enough activity where you can have one sale by 12. If you've been around me, you hit that subscribe button. You'll hear me talk about this a lot. Sale by 12. I live by that principle. Okay. That sale by 12 has been one of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten in this industry. Because if you have a sale by 12 p.m., no matter what else happens that day, because guess what? Sometimes the day can be taken over by all types of other things, right? You don't have to worry about anything. Sale a day keeps the bill collectors away. So whether you got to have 3 appointments in the morning, whatever, but you want to make sure by 12 o'clock you at least got one sale, okay? And it just helps you throughout the rest of the day. Okay, you want to load up on Mondays and Tuesdays, okay? And for me, I get off work early on Fridays. Also, another little nugget that I've learned, working on Sundays. Let me know in the chat if you work on Sundays. Sunday afternoons, I have the best appointments because you know what? If a person sees you on a Sunday, they're serious. It's a more relaxed day. People ain't playing around with it Sundays. So I like to work on Sundays, Sunday afternoons. Okay. Saturdays, like my Sabbath. That's where I don't like to work on Saturdays. But Sunday afternoon, I like to work. It's a nice vibe. You know, that after church, 2 o'clock till about 5:30. That is prime time. Okay. Let me know what y'all think about working on Sundays in the comments. Okay. Also making this time for learning, preferably in the morning. Okay. Not on Fridays. Preferably in the morning so that way you can use it throughout the whole day, right? And on Fridays, if you do it on Fridays, you'll forget. I remember I used to work at a bank for a short time and they would have their sales meetings on Fridays. And I asked them, I was like, why do y'all have your sales meetings on Fridays when we're going to forget it by Monday? Makes no sense. Also, too, when it comes to meetings, I want you to really protect your time when it comes to meetings, because I know, and we all know, these carriers send out emails all the time with the webinar here, webinar there, all that. Only webinars y'all should be coming on is mine. Okay. Coming soon. But no, all seriousness, right? Everybody wants your time in that way. And you could literally have 2-3 webinars every day. So I want you to be very selective about the webinars that you go to. Okay, because you could really take up a lot of your time on there. So maybe you might do 2 webinars a week, right? That learning time, that's fine. But anything more than that, it's just like how everything's a meeting in corporate. It could really steal your time. Okay, let's talk about our action item for today. Your action item for today is I want you to work on one piece of infrastructure. Whether it is your CRM, whether it's a website, whether it's the answering service, one piece of infrastructure I want you to institute, okay? Even if it's refining what you already have, okay? That's it. And let me know how it goes, okay? Agents, I'm Melissa D. Hall, and I want you to remember that no matter what has happened today or what will happen today, you can still sell a policy because it's a great day to sell insurance. See you next week.